Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a fantastic day so far. I hope wherever you are in the world, today has been treating you well. Welcome back to Vidmas. In today's video I am going to be going through all of the eyeshadow palettes that have launched this year and I'm going to be ranking them. So these are just like obviously just the ones that I have tried, so all of these are cruelty-free brands. Most of them are affordable, but some of them are a little bit higher up in price. None of them are like luxury brands. I would consider all of these like affordable eyeshadow palettes, apart from maybe one, which I'll get to. But I'm going to be ranking all of the eyeshadow palettes that I have tested throughout the year. Now, I did do a huge declutter right in the middle of the year this year. It was like July time, so a load of them that aren't good have already been pushed out of my collection. I have already gotten rid of so many. So actually the little section of this video that's like palettes that I don't like is very small, and that is of course how I want my makeup collection to be. I don't want to be keeping things that I don't enjoy. So this is already going to be a very long video. Get yourself a drink, get yourself a snack and a blanket on the sofa. I also just want to start by saying it is an incredibly windy day today, and if you haven't seen my videos before, my windows make the most delightful farting noise when it's windy. I just want to make it absolutely clear that it's not me, it's the window. So if you hear that, just know it's not coming from me. Okay, so I have got myself the only acceptable sized mug for this length of video. Will this be another hour-long video? Probably, if I keep rambling as I have done already. So like I say, this is just eyeshadow palettes. I have already done my makeup favourites of the year, not including eyeshadow palettes. I will leave that video linked. I'm going absolutely delulu today, and I've also done the worst products of the year. It's controversial, but it's there if you want to see it. So let's just start. I'm starting from the worst and we're going to end on a high. So launched this year were these little palettes from Made by Mitchell. I got all four. I think that these were about £19 each, so I dropped a decent chunk of money on 4 eyeshadow palettes, and especially a decent chunk of money considering most of these I have used once or twice. The pigment is not there. The shimmers are so nothing at all. Like the colour selection in all of these palettes I just think is very strange. Like I feel like I struggle to make a look out of, like, yeah, you could just use that, but like the colour selection is just a little bit strange to me. I also really don't like the packaging. It is huge for a quad, for a 4-pan eyeshadow palette that is like bigger than my hand. Like, it's absolutely huge, and I get that this whole packaging will have been very expensive and very, you know, it's like it's custom packaging. Like, it will have cost a lot of money, so of course they want to put as many different things into this packaging. They have blush pans that are in packaging like this as well, but it just doesn't make sense to me. And these aren't, I mean, yeah, the packaging is awful, the colour story isn't great, but also the actual eyeshadows aren't very pigmented. The shimmers are nothing at all. Like, they're very lackluster. I just don't love the formula. I never reached for them, and they were expensive. Ultimately they were an expensive product, and I just regret buying them ultimately. And actually, like, Made by Mitchell eyeshadows are a thing that, like, I'm just not interested in trying more, because I just don't think that they are a very good quality eyeshadow formula. Now, if you saw my makeup favourites, you know, especially this year, there have been so many Made by Mitchell products. None of this is a reflection on the brand or Mitchell himself, okay? I think that he is great. Not that I've met him, but like obviously from what I see online, I think that he's great. It's not a personal attack. I just don't like these eyeshadow palettes. So Then next up, we have got the Revolution Hyper Real Eyeshadow palette. This, again, this was like, I was umming and ahhing as to whether to declutter it, and I do think I'm going to declutter it now, because obviously this is just shimmers. Like, I knew what I was getting myself in for when I bought it. I know that it's just shimmers, but they're all just a little bit, I mean, some of them are a little bit more pigmented, but they're mostly just sort of topper shades. They are all a little bit creamy, a little bit sort of moussey, so they're quite a thin formula where it's more like a topper rather than an actual like very punchy in your face shimmery eyeshadow. These were sold as like duochromes. I don't necessarily feel like you get an incredible amount of shift out of the shades, like a little bit, but if you've tried any indie brands then it really just doesn't compare. Like I say, I knew what I was getting myself in for. I knew that it was going to be an all shimmer palette, but again, it's just one that I haven't really reached for all that much. Occasionally when I need like, who needs a little shimmer across the lid? But if I want to just add a little bit of a shimmer across the lid, I reached for this a little bit, but not enough to justify having it in my collection, and not enough to justify like recommending it. And then the last one that is like, I just never really reach for, and it's just not my cup of tea, and I completely forgot that this even launched this year, because hasn't this year been simultaneously the longest year ever and also just gone so incredibly quickly? Anyone else? Like, I just feel like I blinked and this whole year is gone. But back to the eyeshadow palettes. Like I said, this is going to be a very, very long video. The Beauty Bay Smoky palette. Now, massive disclaimer. I don't like cool tones. I don't like grey. I never wear, pardon me, I never wear grey eyeshadow. Should I have bought this palette? No. But I have all of them. It is like collector mentality. I have all of them, but it is one that I haven't reached for a great deal. I like some of the shades, but is it one that if my house burnt down, would I repurchase this? No. If my house burnt down, I would probably have bigger things to be worrying about, but let's not even put that into the universe. Like, let's just not even go there. Obviously it's the formula that we know and love. The formula is fantastic. If you love cool tones, if you love greys, if you love black, if you love all of the shades of, you know, 50 shades of grey. It's not quite 50, it's 42. But if you like that, and that is the sort of makeup that you wear, like cool tones and greys, this will probably be a favourite for the year for you. But I am a warm-toned gal. I like warm-toned colours on the eye. I like colour on my eyeshadow, so it's not one that really massively comes into my routine basically ever. So they are like the three, counting these four as three because they're all equally as rubbish. They're the three that I'm like, I literally never reach for, and I really don't like. But the Beauty Bay one isn't anything to do with the formula, it's just my personal preferences for how I like to do my makeup. So now we're on to the ones that I like. I like some of them, there's something a little bit off with them. Well, not a little bit off, but again, just how I like to do my makeup. So first up is the Cosmic Beauty Cooltrals. This came out in the summer. I like this. I reach for this sometimes if I want a cool toned bluey sort of, or a purple lilac-y inner corner sort of a moment. I really, really like this. Obviously this has got the duochromes, the multi-chromes and the mattes, so it has those more interesting formulas, which is why I like this more than others. Beauty Bay. And while this is still a cool toned palette and it's still a neutral cool toned colour story, where it's got the slightly more interesting finishes and it's got colour with the cool tones and with the greys, I like this one more, but I wouldn't repurchase it. Just again, it's not my colour story. It's just not what I'm going to reach for. I did actually win this on a TikTok live. I was going to buy it because I will buy all cosmic brushes, eyeshadow palettes, truly. But I won this. I didn't pay for it. But they don't know that I make videos, so that's that. It's just not, again, it's just not my colour preference. Then we have got two more Beauty Bay palettes. First up is the Botanical palette. This is the one that came out in the summer, the limited edition that came out in the summer. Again, it's cool tones. It's almost like muted, neutral leaning colours. Like it's got peach, but it's more like a neutral peach, and a green, but it's more like a neutral grey tone, sort of like a desaturated colour story, where it's like you could go full saturation, it would be a rainbow palette. This is a lot more neutral. I feel like a lot of people will look at this and think that it's a colourful palette that they can get on board with. I like more saturation in my colour if I'm wearing colour, which every single day. But if I'm wearing a colourful eyeshadow, I'm not generally going for these sort of desaturated tones. I do like that this has some sort of special finishes. It has this shade up on the top, which is called Waterfall, is like a blue to like a gold duochrome sort of finish. Very, very pretty, and I do like that Beauty Bay is starting to come out with that sort of formula. I think that they're doing it well considering the price point, like very, very affordable. And then lastly on this little pile is the Beauty Bay Reckless Romance. This was the Valentine's collection. I put this one behind Botanical because I feel like this isn't as colourful. It's got reds and pinks and greys, but it hasn't got any colours like apart from that. Again, if you like reds and pinks and greys, then you will love this. Again, it's just pinks and greys are my least used colours. Literally every other colour, orange, green, purple, yellow, like every other colour I love. But pinks, I don't know, I just feel a little bit off about pinks on the eyes because I feel like it looks a little bit pink eye. And I don't like grey, which is, again, it's just a personal preference. But again, it's got some of those special shades. The shimmers are beautiful. The mattes are beautiful. I'm absolutely not complaining about the quality of the formula. The quality of the eyeshadows is there. Like, that is not in question. I think that it is a beautiful quality. This does just come down to the colour story. So that was the second little pile of like, I like them, but I don't reach for them because of the colour story. Then, now we're getting on to like the ones that I like, the ones that I do enjoy. And I'm first going to talk about the Beauty Bay Mini Charms. Again, this is just a shimmer palette. Some of these are more pigmented and some of them are more topper-esque. Topper, sort of slightly sheerer, more sort of adaptable. But again, it is just shimmers. So again, it's quite limiting. But if you have a really great selection of, like if you have a matte, colourful or neutral palette and you're wanting just a little something to spice something up a little bit, I would recommend this one because I think that these are really nice. The colours are sort of more neutral leaning for like special shades. Again, they are that sort of desaturated, slightly lighter shimmery tones that I feel like a lot of people could just sprinkle into their makeup collection. But again, because it is a shimmer only palette, that does just feel a little bit limiting to me. Then we have got the Beauty Bay Celestial Charms palette. This and this were part of the Christmas collection that I think came out in like September. Like, it came out forever ago. I do believe it is still available, but this was the Christmas collection for this year. I love the concept. I love where this is going, But for me, and obviously me being Casper the Ghost and being very, very fair, all of these shades, minus like 2 or 3, all of them are very, very dark. A lot of them are quite similar. A lot of them are very, very close. Like this one, and this one, we really could have just done with one. This one and this one are also very, very close. These two are very, very close. Like a lot of them are just so close in colour that I'm like, you could have not put that in and you could have put more of a mid-tone in, because there really isn't anything. Like this is the only mid-tone matte that you could like use through your crease if you're my sort of skin tone. I feel like this would be a really good colour story to have as like maybe a 3-part palette where they had like a light, a medium and a dark, and this would be the darkest one. So I feel like this leans very, very dark. Very dark, very smoky, but like I say, I love where this is going. We're getting there. Like we've got a teal, we've got purples, we've got plums, we've got burgundies. It's beautiful. It is getting to be the jewel toned palette of my dreams, but because it hasn't got those mid-tones, I feel like it's quite limiting. Again, it is the Beauty Bay formula that we know and love, which if you haven't tried the Beauty Bay formula, it is just fantastic. It just is. The mattes are so pigmented, the shimmers are very, very pigmented. I don't actually find that many of these shimmers in these limited edition ones are sort of topper shades. They are like full pigment shimmers, which I appreciate because I'm a magpie. I want to be seen from outer space and I want to be sparkly at all times. So that's what I think of that one. Then we have got the MUA Utopia palette. This is a little 5-pan palette. Whenever I open this, I always want to say quad, and I'm like, it's not a quad because the quad is 4. What would 5 be? Either way, it's a little 5-pan palette. I really, really enjoy this shade at the end. They've all got names. Aphrodite. This one, it is like a brown to blue duochrome, the sort of duochrome that you get in quite a lot of low-end, affordable eyeshadow palettes. I think that this is a really, really great like duochrome formula. I think that it is very, very pretty. My problem with this palette is that all 3 of these matte shades in the middle are very, very similar. Again, similar to what I was saying about that Beauty Bay one. You could have just picked one of these and then given us, like, all of these are the light shade, and then you could have given us a mid and a deeper tone, because again, this is very like one-dimensional. Every single time I use it, I create the same look. It's a look that I love. It's a look that I really, really like. This would absolutely not work for deeper skin tones. It just wouldn't, because all 3 of these would just show up exactly the same. On me, they do show up a little bit differently. Like this one's a little bit more pink and this one's a little bit like a deeper brown, but like it's not a deep brown. It is just slightly deeper than the other 2. I do like the shimmer on the end, but again, that's just a shimmer on the end. I really like this because it's very, very affordable. This formula is fantastic. If you haven't tried MUA eyeshadow formula, I do think that it's beautiful, but I don't know, it's just very one-dimensional. I like the dimension that it is, I like the level that it's at, but I just feel like it's quite limiting. Again, I just feel like there's not very many different ways that you can go. Time for a tea break. I do feel like it was potentially a mistake making myself such a massive cup of tea, because I am gonna have to visit the little ladies' room soon, but whatever. Next up, we've got the Pastel Roses. They brought out, I mean, I love the Pastel Roses, the little single eyeshadows. They're not in an eyeshadow palette, so I haven't picked any of those, but like, you want duochromes, you want multi-chromes, the Pastel Roses is your gal. They brought out the Crushed Diamonds collection. I just got one eyeshadow palette, but actually, like, some of the others I'm also very, very interested in. So this is 02. Oh, I've just lost a bit. So this is 02. The shimmers aren't necessarily duochromy like the other little duochrome single pans that you can get from the Pastel Roses. The mattes in this surprised me. I wasn't expecting incredible things, just because I know how incredible the shimmer and the multi and duochrome shades are. I was expecting those to be fantastic, and they are. But I wasn't expecting the mattes to be incredible. Again, it's pink. I picked the colour story and I picked pink. I do like the shades of pink. I do think that they are very, very pretty. The other shades that they brought one that was like a neutral, and they brought one that was more purpley, but I didn't necessarily vibe with the purpley one, and I can't remember why. I don't know if it was very light or very dark, whatever it was. I can't quite remember, but the mattes are incredible, and I do feel like, you know, you could not use that one and you could do something lighter, you could not use that one, you could do something darker. The shimmers are quite adaptive, so they will go with like other palettes that you've got. I really, really like this formula, but again, it's pink. I picked it, okay? I picked the palette, but I don't know. It's, again, I just feel like it's quite limiting. But it is also a quad, so if you like pink and you're wanting a little pink something to go into your makeup routine, I do think that this is fantastic. The quality is incredible, but I just don't reach for pink all that much. I should have picked another colour. That is down to me. So next up, you probably just saw it when I spilt that other shimmer all over it. Next up, we have got the Cosmic Beauty Sinister palette. This is the one that they brought out. It was meant to be for Halloween, but it was launched a little bit late because there were delays, and I'm not holding that against them. I would rank it the same way whenever they launched this. It's cool tones and it's reds, but it's got purples. I'm very, very excited about the purples in this palette. I think that this is the sort of cool tone palette. Like, if this was the only cool tone palette that I had in my collection, I would be completely fine with that. Like, that has got this quad up in the top corner, has got all of the greys that I could ever need, because I don't wear them all that much. But I do like that this has pushed me out of my comfort zone a little bit with the reds. Like, I definitely look at this and I feel quite inspired by like the reds down at the bottom, which it's just a colour story that I've never really worn all that much. Like, I don't have a bright reds like this in my collection. This shade up at the top, which is called Eerie, is one of my favourite shades I've ever tried, and it's cool toned. Who saw that coming? But it is like holographic, like prismatic, every colour all at the same time. Again, very adaptable, goes with every single look. I really, really like this. Again, it's called the Purples. It's not this. We will get to this, but I don't like that it's got this shade. I get it. They did say that this was going to be like for artists and for like creative makeup looks, and I get that, but also I'm never gonna use this translucent eye jelly sticky, like even the thought of that being on my eyeballs and like sticking my eyelid together every time I blink, just as a sensory issue, absolutely not. Absolutely not. I can't handle that. But all of the other shades, beautiful. Even the pinks. Like, the pinks in this are definitely more muted pinks, so they are more like everyday wearable pinks for me, who doesn't really wear pinks. But again, this just comes down to the colour story not being exactly what I love. And then we have got two palettes here from MUA. I bought this one and I was gifted this one. So this is, let's talk about the gifted one first, because I would probably rank it in that order. This is the Kaleidoscopic eyeshadow collection. If you are looking for a matte eyeshadow palette, just as like you're wanting to try the idea of more colourful makeup and you're wanting to try adding in a little bit of colour into your makeup collection, I think that this is a really, really nice one. The formula of the matte shades is really, really nice. It has 3 shimmers in it. None of those are really like incredible. None of them are very like special shades. They're not like that other one in that Utopia palette. They're not like duochromy, but they're there. I don't love the shimmers, but the mattes are a good formula. They're not the most incredible level of pigment. They're not like very, very intense. But again, if you're just wanting a little wash or something, you're just wanting to try colour, and you're just wanting to sort of see how you feel about the idea of colour before you maybe invest a little bit more money into something more expensive, I do think that this is a very, very good palette. It's got all of the colours, and they're very, very like saturated colours, so you can sort of adapt them where you can like really pack them on with more of a flat brush, or you can blend them out with a fluffy brush to get whatever sort of level of colour you're looking for. It's not my favourite rainbow palette because it doesn't have absolutely everything, but for a starter palette, I think that this is a really, really good one. Then next up, I would rank this one. This is the colour story that I enjoy. So this is the MUA Firestorm eyeshadow palette. This is warm neutrals. This is warm orangey, pinky, browny tones. If you want warm neutrals, again, some of these shimmers are very, very pretty. Some of them are a little bit neither here nor there, but a lot of them are very, very pretty. A lot of them are very, very reflective. It's got, again, sort of the same as what I was saying about that Beauty Bay one, where a lot of the shades are quite similar, but also I think that these are like £6, which I know it shouldn't come into it, but even like £6, I could feed myself for like 2-3 days off £6. Like, it's not nothing. It's not nothing at all. So if you're going to buy something, you still want it to be good, even if it's £6. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not discounting the fact that £6 is still £6. I hope that that makes sense. If you're wanting warm neutrals, I feel like you could probably go like quite bridal with this. You could go very sort of soft and smoky and bridal, but also it's got this like really, really bright orange, and I don't know, yeah, can you see how bright that is? Like, bright neon orange, just like, why not? I think this is a really, really nice one. It's probably one of the MUA ones I reach for the most. This one and the Ultimate Obsessions, because again, this is just like the warm tones, but the Ultimate Obsessions has like everything. Firestorm. And this has like the shimmers as well, which the Ultimate Obsessions one does not. Then next up, while we're talking rainbows, I only tried this for the first time last week, the week before. I've not had it all that long, but I would rank it here because I know what the quality of this brand is. It is, I would say, the same quality. I really, really like the colour story, and I really like the ratio of mattes to shimmers. So this is the Plouise What If You Fly eyeshadow palette. This is the one that came in the budget box. Some people got the colourful one and some people got the cool toned one. I actually got the cool toned one, and one of my lovely subscribers messaged me on Instagram and said that she would swap, so I sent her my cool toned one, she sent me the colourful one. I am very, very happy with my decision there, because this is, I mean, it's a chunk of eyeshadow palette. It is weighty. It is very, very weighty. But if I just open this up, it has got, ooh, I can't even lift it. It has got all of the colours that you could ever need. And the reason, oh, see, it's just, I can't do this and lift it up at the same time. It's got everything, and all of the shades at this end, all of these are the shimmers, and everything else is the matte, which I love. Some of the shimmers are a little bit lackluster. Some of the shimmers are a little bit nothing. But all of the mattes, or all of the mattes that I've tried, which isn't all of them as of yet because I haven't had it all that long, but all of the mattes, and all of the mattes that I've ever tried from Plouise are an incredible, incredible formula. And the reason that I love this so much is that it's got the gradient of like a light pastel all the way down to like the deepest version of every colour. So you can do that gradient in each shade. Somebody actually asked me, because I've done eyeshadow videos before where, and this is part of one, if you're wondering, where it's been like a palette that's got 4 rows and each row is a different colour, and I do a look on each row. Somebody asked me to do 9 looks with this palette. I just don't think I've got the mental capacity for that, like doing a whole yellow look, a whole orange look, a whole red look. Maybe one day. Maybe one day, but honestly that day is not going to be, it's not going to be anytime soon. But like even this page in the book, for someone who doesn't really like pinks but really loves purples, I don't know, I just love that this has got the gradient. I love that this has got all of the colours. Like I don't think anything is missing out of this, other than maybe a black. Is there not a black? Yeah, there's not a black and there's not a white, but like everybody's got a black and everybody's got a white in another palette somewhere. So that's where I would rank that one. The packaging is excessive. Would I rather it was just like a large thing that just opens up? Probably, yes, but I get it. Like Plouise are known for their packaging, and out of all of the like fully rainbow palettes that have launched this year, this is my favourite one. And like I say, I've only had it 3 weeks, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. I really do think that it's very good. I'm very glad that I decided to swap with Jennifer, because I just think that it's incredible. So next up, all of these next palettes I would say are like cream of the crop, very good, very like I'm very excited about using these more. I think that they are all great. I love the colour stories. There's very little that I would change about these next 3. So first up we have got the Cosmic Brushes Nudetrals palette. If you're like me and you just love a warm tone, you love a warm tone, if you're going neutral, you're going for something warm, this is your gal. Again, this launched at the same time as Cooltrals in the summer. I bought this one with my own money. I just think that it is beautiful. I love that this has got like obviously all of like your neutral tones, obviously all of like your brown tones, but it's also got an incredible like mustardy gold. I love this colour just all over the lid as like a wash of something, maybe with a little bit of the shimmer over the top, but like not necessarily. It's also got greens, it's also got some like slightly purplier shades, some like ballet slipper pinky sort of brown tones, and then just like straight up browns. I also really love this shade, which I know without even looking is called Radiant. I love it. It's like white and obviously very light, and then when it catches the light in a certain way it goes like a bright orange, like the glitters in it are like a bright orange. I just think that it is beautiful. I also love Desire, which is more of like a burnt orange, it's very smooth sort of foil. Again, you cannot fault the quality. You just can't fault the quality of these Cosmic Brushes eyeshadow palettes. I only found them this year. This time last year I had never tried a Cosmic Beauty eyeshadow palette, and now I have all of them that they have ever launched, apart from that one that they don't restock anymore, which I can't remember the name of. I've got all of them apart from one that they don't even sell anymore. I love this. If I'm going neutral, these are the shades that I'm going for. I don't go for neutral all that much because I like colour, but sometimes I just feel like I want something more neutral and then maybe a bold lip, and that's when I would go for this one. I think everybody who likes a warm, everybody who likes a warm toned, warm on the eye, I'm really not making sense. I'm really not making any sort of sense. I love it. It's ranked very, very highly. There's not very, very many to go. If you've made it this far, congratulations. Then next up we've got another Cosmic Brushes. This is the Undergrowth palette. So this is neutral, but it's got a green twist to it, which I really, really like. I love green. Like, I just love colour. I love purple, I love green. I love purple and green together. I've done so many purple and green looks this year. You will be so bored. But this one was their like autumn release for this year, and I just love it. Again, if you're wanting to do something very, very neutral and like not green at all, you can absolutely use this. But also it's got like pastel-y greens that are more like minty, and then it's also got like lime green, all of the golds, all of the greens. Like, if you like greens and you like neutrally warm tones, you cannot go wrong with this one. I have actually used this so much and it looks completely untouched. Like, this one is going to last me forever, because as much as I like greens, I often use green in conjunction with another colour, like I say, with purple. And I love greens. I really do feel very strongly about this colour story. Again, some of them are a little bit close. Some of the shades are quite similar, but there really is so little that I would change about this. I really, really enjoy it. It's time for a tea break again. Then in the number 3 spot, we've got Made by Mitchell. Like, tell me that I am not bookending this video. My worst palette of the year, palettes, and also in at number 3, like top 3 palettes of the whole year. So I am not against the brand at all. The Chrome Cowboy eyeshadow palette. I just got the little mini one. They did also bring out a larger one, but I don't believe this formula was in that. This sold out so quickly, and I can absolutely see why. These shades are in... Oh, you can see my cup of tea there. These shades are incredible. So all of these are like shifty. It's very hard to see because obviously filming in the middle of winter, I have all of the artificial light in front of me, so it is quite hard to see these shifts, but just take my word for it that these are, like, if I hold it like that, can you see? So shifty, and like they just go so many different colours. Obviously you've got like a yellow base, a green base, a purple base, like you've got different base colours. All of these are like pigment. Shift. You need another palette to go with it, obviously. Obviously I have that, so like you could create a look just with this, you could, but I like to use these as like an addition to something else. I would be so happy, genuinely, to just have this and the next two that I'm going to talk about, because I feel like this adds onto so many different palettes, and just this formula is incredible. I really, really hope that they bring out more like this, maybe even like singles. I think that that would be incredible, because there are like, some of these shades are like too deep for what I would do, which is just put something all over the lid. Some of these are like too dark for that for me, and like I like a colourful but still quite light look. So some of these I do feel are a little bit dark, but obviously they work for a lot of different skin tones. I really, really want them to bring out more in this formula, more shades, and potentially like singles or duos, something like that, even if it's a larger pan size, so that would make it a little bit more expensive. I do think that these are incredible. Like I just think that they are a really great formula. They're almost like creamy, they go on incredibly smooth, they last all day. The shift in all of these shades is juicy. It's so good, like genuinely so good. I really, really like it. And then the next two, I feel like in my head, I can't, what have I got on my lip? I feel like in my head, I can't separate them. They're both fairly recent additions to my makeup collection. They're both colourful. They're both indie brands. I'm putting both of these at number 1. This is my channel, okay? I make the rules. I'm putting both of these at number 1 because I think that both of them are incredible. And there's nothing that I was about to say there's nothing that I would change about either of them. There's one thing that I would change about one of them. And I'll start with that one. It's the Divination and Robert Welsh Blend Bunny palette. The only thing that I would personally change about this palette is the cool toned roll on the bottom. But other than that, it's perfection. Other than that, I absolutely love it. So you've got these 3 in the middle are like pastel, mid-tone and deeper toned, all matte. Then these are a lighter shimmer and these are a darker shimmer. I love this formula. This is the first and only Blend Bunny palette that I have ever tried. I am absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt, buying more this year, like this coming year, because I think that this is incredible. I love that it's got the gradient of the mattes, so you've got everything that you need from the mattes, and then it's got the lighter shimmer and the darker shimmer. I don't know if all of the Blend Bunny palettes have that. I'm not sure off the top of my head, but I love that this one has it. It's got yellow, green, blue, purple, warm neutrals and cool tones. Like I say, I could personally do without this row along the bottom, but other than that, there is not a thing that I would change about this palette. I love it. I love it. I think that it is so well thought out. I think this is the only rainbow palette that you have in your collection. You don't need anything else, because for me, these are the colours that I wear. These are the colours that I love. Like, it hasn't got shades that I won't use. This cool tone roll on the bottom. I just love everything about it. I just love everything about it. And I knew as soon as I saw Robert Welsh talk about this, and granted, yeah, okay, yeah, I am a big Robert Welsh fan. Okay, I just am. But also, if it wasn't good, like, I wouldn't spend my money on it. This is the most expensive palette that I've ever bought. And I would pay it again because I think that it is beautiful. I just think that it's incredible. Really, really do. I love the packaging. I love the size. It's not too big, but also, like, the mirror. Like, I just think that it's incredible. I think that it is very Robert, but also very me. So that I would rank at like number 2, but these two are so close. I feel like at this point you know what my number 1 is. I'm wearing it on my eyeballs right now. It is That Was the Wind. Ruining my moment. Ruining the number 1 moment. Cosmic Beauty, 'Tis the Season palette gets my number 1 spot. As soon as I saw this launch, as soon as I saw this colour story, I knew that it was going to be my favourite of the year, because I know the quality and I know what to expect. So just looking at the colour story, I knew that this would be my favourite, and indeed I have used this every day since I got it. Pretty much every single day since I got it. I love it. I'll show you it in a minute, but like I just love it. I really, really hope that they don't make this a limited edition, like you can only get it like now at Christmas time. I just think, yes, it's a Christmas palette, but it's not limited to Christmas. It's not just Christmas. Yes, it's got greens that are Christmassy, it's got golds that are Christmassy, but then it's got purples. Like, would you look at this eyeshadow look and think that this was from a Christmassy palette? No. Then it's got like the pinks and like the names are Christmassy. The names of the shades are Christmassy. Like the light purple that I've got on the inner corner is fairy lights. And then we've got like party, baubles, gifting. Like, yeah, it is a Christmas themed palette. But also if you took these shades out and if you looked at the looks that I've created with this palette, you wouldn't look at it and think that it was limited to Christmas. I love this palette. I love the colour story. There is not one single thing that I would change about this colour story other than expanding it and just doing more of the same. That's the only way. That is the only way that you can make this better, by having this times 5 and having this variety of tones and the colours. I just think it's perfect. I just think it's perfect. And there's not one shade in this palette that I'm not excited about using. I love it. I love it. And I also love it because I think that a lot of different skin tones can use this. It's not limited to just Casper the Ghost. Like, it's got darker tones. Pardon me. It's got darker tones and lighter tones and mid-tones. It's got everything. The shimmers are light, but there's also some that are deeper. Like, it just has everything. I feel like this would be a really good companion palette to Delicious Delights, which didn't launch this year. That's why I haven't mentioned it. And between this and Delicious Delights, don't ask me to choose a favourite. But I feel like Delicious Delights is a bit lighter and a bit brighter, whereas this is a bit darker, more jewel-toned, delicious, wintry. Oh, I just love it. I just love it. And yeah, there's looks coming. I don't know when this video is going up, and I don't know when this video is going up. At some point you will see how I created this look. I don't know if it's already up or not, but I'm very, very excited about this palette. So I would love to know, what's your number one of the year? Have you tried any of these other palettes that I've ranked quite low? And what do you think of them? And is 'Tis the Season your favourite as well? Because I feel like a lot of the people that follow me and like a lot of the lovely ladies that I talk to on Instagram pretty much every single day, a lot of you are excited about 'Tis the Season as well, and you have said that it's your favourite and you're very excited about the colour story. And I'm very excited about using it all year round. You will get bored of me using that, genuinely, because I'm going to be using it. I mean, it's annoying because I will only use things on my channel that are like available, because otherwise that's just really annoying. Like if I were to do like a series of looks with a palette that you can't even get anymore, I feel like that's very, very annoying, so I wouldn't do that to you. But for as long as it's available, I'll be using it. I just love it. I just love it. And even like looking at it sparks joy and sparks like inspiration. And every time I look at it, I think, oh, I could put those two colours together and that would look cool. And like that one with that one, that would be interesting. Like the creativity that swells within when I look at that palette is, well, both of these, unrivaled. Absolutely unrivaled. Every single time I look at these, I'm like, I just want to take off whatever I've got on and reapply my makeup 7 times over, because every single time I play with them, I think of more looks to do. And I just love that feeling. I just love the feeling that makeup, like the creativity that makeup brings, I just live for it. I just love it. So I would love to hear what your favourites are. I hope that you've enjoyed this. I hope that your tea hasn't gone completely cold. Mine isn't undrinkable. Is it slightly unpleasant? Yes. My problem is that I make a cup of tea and then I come upstairs and I film something that I'm very passionate about, such as great eyeshadow palettes. And then I completely forget about my cup of tea. I'm going to go and microwave this then I'm going to tidy up my table because I have every single eyeshadow palette that was launched this year on my table currently. And I don't need them all out at the same time. So I'm going to go do that. I hope that you've had a fantastic day. Thank you ever so much for watching. Bye.